Today on our 2015 Lincoln MKX, we're going to be installing Roadmaster's Universal Diode Wiring Kit, part number RM-152. This taillight wiring kit is going to provide you with all the necessary lighting you need at the back of your vehicle so you can tow it behind your motorhome and be DOT compliant in all states. It's going to give you your left turn signal, right turn signal, tail lamps, and brake lamps. So as you can see here, when I turn on my left turn signal in the motorhome, it's also applying that left turn signal on our towed vehicle. The right signal also works as it should, as well as our brake lamps and our tail lamps. It's permanently installed and hidden inside the vehicle, so you'll never even know that it's there. The diodes that connect into your circuitry keeps the motorhome signals separate from your vehicle circuitry, so you don't have to worry about any backfeeding causing any damage to your vehicle, and vice versa from your vehicle to your motorhome. Your vehicle connects to your motorhome using the 7-pole to 6-pole wiring with the 6-pole connector located here at the front of the vehicle. The 6-pole connector located here at the front uses ground and 3 other poles for your lighting signals and has 2 additional open poles, one that can be used for a charge line kit and an additional one for any other accessories that you may have, such as a backup camera that you may want to install in your vehicle. Additionally, we installed a brake light relay on our vehicle in conjunction with our diode kit that will allow all the signals to work properly with our motorhome without the brake signals from the vehicle and the vehicle's braking system interfering with those lights. What would happen if we didn't have a brake light relay? When the braking system that was installed in our vehicle applies the brakes in the vehicle, the brake lights would come on, and that would override our turn signals. So if we have the left turn on in the motorhome, you would only see a brake light on the vehicle. You wouldn't see that left turn signal. The brake light relay will allow us to still see that turn signal while our passenger side would have the brake light. And vice versa, if you use your right turn signal, you would have your right turn signal on your vehicle and you would have the brake light on the left side. Without that relay, you would just see brake lights. To complete our total flat tow setup on our 2015 Lincoln MKX, we used Roadmaster's XL base plate kit, Roadmaster's Universal Diode Wiring Kit, Roadmaster's Battery Charge Line Kit, Roadmaster's 12-volt outlet kit, Roadmaster's Sterling all-terrain non-binding tow bars, Roadmaster's brake light relay kit, and Blue Ox's Patriot 2 portable braking system. We'll begin our installation at the back of the vehicle by removing both the passenger and driver side tail lamp assemblies. We'll use an 8mm socket to remove the 2 screws that hold the tail light on. We'll then pull the tail light rearward to release it. Using a trim panel tool will make it a little bit easier to get the tail light removed. Once you've got the tail light assembly removed, you can unplug the connector, push down here on the release tab, and just pull it out. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Now we're going to use a fish wire to get our wiring pulled up from below up into our tail light assembly area. We're using a piece of airline tubing as that fish wire. Now in order to get it routed down, you can just poke your fish wire down in there and hope that you find it on the bottom side. But to make things easier, there are some push pins here that you can remove. You'll just unscrew the center with the Phillips head and pull that pin out. You can then pull this back and you can see down in there a little better and get your fish wire down in there easier. We'll now take the wiring that comes in our kit. We're going to snip the green wire between the yellow and just pull that green wire back because we don't want it on our driver's side. We'll then take our fish wire down below that we had run and the remaining wires, the yellow, brown, and white, we're going to tape that to that fish wire. And we'll now pull those wires up into our driver's side taillight area. Might have to help guide it a little bit. And now that we've got our wiring up on our driver's side, we can separate it from our fish wire. You want to make sure you've got enough pulled up that it won't slide back down on you, so you don't have to do that process again. We're now going to strip back some of the wiring on our connectors. Just using a razor knife to do that. I'm going to expose all of them from the sheathing. We're now going to take the yellow wire with the green stripe. We're going to cut that in half. And do the same with the gray and brown wire. This is your taillight signal, and this is your turn signal. We're now going to separate out our white, brown, and yellow wires from each other. And now we're going to strip back each wire on our new harness here, and each wire that we had cut here, each end. Now take two of your diodes and pull off all the plugs. One of those should be the one with the yellow connector. The yellow connector is going to connect the white and the brown wire from our new harness together. We're just going to twist those together. We're going to crimp on our yellow terminal connector here. And then on each other wire that we just stripped back, we'll be crimping on the blue terminal connectors. We'll now take our diodes and connect those. The out on your diode is going to connect to the connector side from your vehicle. So we're going to use the yellow and green wire on the outside. We'll take the other end of our yellow and green side, the vehicle side, plug that into the in. And on the other end, we're going to be using the brown and white wires that we connected to the yellow connector. Our other diode is going to plug in very similarly. Out is going to go to the connector side, in to the vehicle side, and the yellow wire to the other end. On the back side of each of your diodes, there is an adhesive pad. You can stick those behind here in your taillight area. I usually just stick them together because it can be difficult to get your taillight to fit, and if you stick it in the wrong spot, then you're fighting it. We'll now plug our taillight assembly back in and reinstall it. We'll now need to route our wiring over towards our passenger side. The green wire is going to need to go up there, and our white wire, you want to kind of measure a length and cut some of that white wire off so we can run the white and green over to that side. You want to make sure we're running the white wire that is going from the left side over to the right side. Make sure those are connected. We'll have more white wire that will run to the front in a later step. And we're going to use that fish wire technique we used on the driver's side to get our wiring up into our taillight area on the passenger side. On our passenger side, we're going to do the same thing by stripping back the sheathing so we can expose our wiring. And on this side, we're going to be cutting the orange and purple wire and the yellow and green wire. We'll then strip back the wires just like we did on the other side, each end of the ones we cut and each end of the ones that we ran up. Each wire we strip back on this side is going to get a blue terminal connector. We'll now plug our diodes in just like we did on the driver's side. The connector side is going to go to the out. We're going to match up the same color wire for the in. Our green is going to go with our purple and orange, and the white that we ran over is going to go with the yellow and green. When connecting any of your wiring, a little bit of dielectric grease can help keep out moisture and help ensure a longer lasting connection. We'll now plug our taillight assemblies back in and reinstall them. And if you remove these push pins to make it easier to route your wiring, you'll want to make sure you reinstall those as well. We're going to run a fish wire down in our engine compartment so we can bring our wiring up into the compartment. Just going to go along our battery here. You can kind of look down and see an opening. We're just aiming for that. We'll now need to route this wire up to the front of the vehicle to our engine compartment. We took our wiring here, we went up above our heat shield, keeping it up way above our exhaust so that way we don't get it overheated and cause any melts or shorts. From there we went over our suspension. We did take it across the top of the suspension here to our driver's side where we followed our factory wiring now, going alongside our fuel tank. From there we went up using the brackets that already existed and continued on forward until we come out here. Our fish wire that we ran down is going to connect to our wiring so we can get it pulled up into our engine compartment. It's a good idea to check down below and double check to make sure that the wire didn't get hung up and that you've got it all the way pulled up. We're going to want to route it to the front of the vehicle. We have our fascia off because when you're installing your base plate, this is the best time to install your diode wiring and your braking system and any other accessories you're going to do because you have the most access to the front area. We're going to be using a long bracket and a 6-pole bracket to get our connector mounted to our base plate here. So you will need to hook this to your base plate. Next we'll connect our 6-pole bracket to the long bracket that we just put on. We're just using the screws that came supplied with our long bracket. We're going to tighten those down. If you're using the ones that come with the long bracket, it's a 10mm socket. We'll now take our wiring, we're going to route it through our bracket. We're going to trim off the excess we don't need. I like to leave some to make it easier to make our connections and also for future repairs if necessary. You'll want to split each one and separate all of your wires. We're then going to slide on our cover and strip back each wire. We'll now connect our wires to our 6-pole. The white wire is going to connect to ground. That's the one labeled GD. It's going to use a small Phillips head screwdriver to loosen those screws. Slide your wires in and then tighten them back down. Then we'll put our brown wire in the one labeled TM, the green wire in the one labeled RT, and the yellow wire in the one labeled LT. Now you want to use some dielectric grease on the back of your wiring here. You can slide your cover on afterwards and tape it up. We're not going to be doing that now because we still have more components to complete our flat toe setup that are going to require wiring to our connector. So we'll be doing that at that time. You can then mount your connector using the hardware that comes in your kit. Well, I need to hook up our ground wire. So we're going to cut our white wire here. We're going to take the end that goes towards the front of the vehicle. We're going to strip that back. We'll use the blue ring terminal that comes in the kit. We're going to crimp that on the end. And we're going to connect it to the stud right here. This is our ground stud. We'll remove the nut with a 10mm socket. Slide our ring terminal on and reinstall the nut. And now you can plug this into the back of your motorhome and test it out and make sure everything's working properly. This should include your left turn signal, your right turn signal, tail lamps, and brake lamps. If everything's working properly, you can clean up your wiring with some zip ties, button up, and hit the road. And that completes our installation of Roadmaster's Universal Diode Wiring Kit on our 2015 Lincoln MKX.